watch him here at Village Hall.
Okay. He's in the terrible 2 stage right now.
I think there's been having something to clean up. I think the canine unit didn't that happen, Lisa, one time? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was in Peggy's office.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Oh, visit from Venday.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back here. We have a quorum, right? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. Okay. All right, so it is 5 o'clock on Monday, March 8th. This is a village board meeting for the Village of Oregon. I'll do ask for a roll call, please.
Peterson,
Here.
Glish,
Here.
Stitch, Pollig,
Pollock here.
Carpenter,
Here.
and Jacobson.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we're at that point of the meeting where we are opening it up for community input. This is the part of the agenda where anyone from the community has something that they'd like to share with us or tell us. We're happy to listen. We can't take action because it won't be on the agenda, but we can always put it on a future agenda. So is there anyone from the community who would like to speak?
Yes, Madam President.
Mr. Scott Meyer, yes, please go ahead. Please identify yourself with your name and address.
My name Scott Meyer, 185 Chelsea Court in the Village of Oregon. Reporting in tonight from activities at Genesis Housing. Our grant with the Federal Home Loan Bank of Chicago, as you recall back, coming up on 2 years, it'll be 2 years in May. Most of you were present on the village board at the time, and you allowed us a grant of $168,000 from the Affordable Housing Fund. And we were able to leverage that nearly 5 times with the Federal Home Loan Bank grantly in town. It was a long haul and a lot of red tape and a lot of paperwork and a lot of happenstance with COVID and everything else. It's taken a lot longer than we had initially planned, but the money is here. It's in a trust account, and we can start putting it to work very soon. So I just wanted to report in and thank everybody on the board, thank everybody on the staff. Just about everybody downtown got emails from me needing information and stuff for our grant application. Randy helped with MOUs, Rachel at the senior center, Mike and Lisa, just everybody was involved in this, and it couldn't have turned out better. It's going to position Genesis Housing to last at least another 50 years in the community. On another note, you may recall we operate under the USDA's Rural Development Agency. At the time of our grant application nearly 2 years ago, we had them providing 38 of our tenants rental assistance monthly. They've been so pleased with our progress and everything that's happened. They've awarded us another 15 units of rental assistance. So we now have 53 of our 56 apartments covered with rental assistance, as long as the tenants are qualified for that assistance. So another huge win for Genesis Housing and the community.
Well, that is an excellent report, Scott.
I thought you'd like to hear it, so I could hop in and make that report. And I don't know if anybody has any questions, but
Jeannie, just a comment, Scott, congratulations on that. I know this was a big deal. We went to meetings and listened, and we knew that the grants were really competitive, but we pulled it off, and it's a great thing under your leadership too, and your board, and it's a great thing for the village.
And people will start seeing lots of improvements coming real soon, with hopefully with COVID winding down and vaccinations ramping up. And we did a number of things last year, more outdoor in nature, but with things improving now, hopefully we can get inside and start making bigger improvements. So, and like I say, the money is in the bank and ready to spend. So that's my report.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Meyer. Always nice to see you at a village board meeting.
I'll stop back again sometime.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yep.
Bye.
All right. Do we have any other community input tonight? Doesn't look like it. All right, we'll keep going. So item 4 is public appearances. First one is a discussion with the Oregon Community Access Media regarding the following. We have 3 things. We're going to review the revised bylaws. Number 2 is OCA Media providing a quarterly report to the village board. And number 3, discuss disbanding the village's cable TV committee. So I'll let whoever would like to take charge of this one start talking.
I'll speak to that, Chief.
All right, cool.
Tom Kirchdorfer. I live at 25 Fairway Meadows Court here in Oregon. I'm the president of what's currently the Oregon Foundation. A number of you might remember a number of years ago, we came and there was a activity that we were undergoing to try to reestablish the mission and vision and purpose and all of the basic strategic directions of the organization. And one of the things we ran into is that the bylaws that were originally drafted in 1987 somehow don't exactly match up with what we are doing. As the original bylaws were really intended to be a foundation organization through which funds flowed to benefit other entities. And as a byproduct of that, they also said, and when you get some time, run a cable station. Over time, basically, that's what we began. That's really the sole purpose of what the organization is today. And as we talked about our mission and purpose and functions, it wasn't just a simple matter of making a few changes in the bylaws. We determined that we really needed to replace them and create something that was a little more modern, a little more current with current functionality, electronic approvals, and all of those things. So Amanda Peterson and I drafted together a set of bylaws almost a year ago now. These all got delayed, of course, with the COVID issues that we all experienced. These bylaws that we're proposing is different in a couple of important ways. First off, it changes the name of the organization from being the Oregon Foundation to the Oregon Community Access Media Incorporated. This is more in line with what we do and who we are and what we're trying to be. It also removes some of the provisions that we're not just a cable station, we're actually a community access program. So this plays into all that work that we're doing these days in social media, as well as the YouTube channels, the streaming, and people right now are streaming, watching this video. It's all being done through Oregon Community Access station. So and you can do it on YouTube. You can do it live on both TDS and as well as the charter broadcast services. That was our purpose. That's why we really started out down this whole path of replacing the bylaws. And there are other incremental changes. There's some changes to some directors. There's some other changes to how many directors we can have. Sometimes we've had tough times when we have such a broad constituency of people here in Oregon. Sometimes staying just within a certain number was a little bit difficult. So this gives us a little more flexibility with that regard. There's a few other minor changes. When we presented these draft bylaws to Mike and Matt, one of the things that came back through is the redlined portions there where you see some changes and some edits that were early up in the first section. Basically what in existing bylaws, there was actually statements that required the village to appoint someone, appoint a trustee to our board of directors. That was sort of when having a document that requires the village was something Matt wasn't quite comfortable. He was much more comfortable that we would be giving an opportunity to name someone to the village board. And it doesn't have to be a trustee, it'd be whoever the village president would feel is appropriate. This is just sort of kind of, and Matt might be able to speak to this a little bit better than I can, but it's basically relieving the requirements on the village to have a liability or a responsibility to take an action. The same token, then at the very end, the bylaws also required the approval of the old bylaws required the approval of the village for us to update or revise them or make any changes to them. Again, this was a case where having a requirement of the village was something that seemed to be a good idea that we not require any longer. It's really focuses as an organization on that mission and that purpose that we're trying to accomplish these days, which is disseminate information about what's going on in Oregon. That's the bylaw changes. It doesn't really require the board's approval. I don't know if there's any action that needs to be taken, Mike or Matt. I don't know if you could speak to that.
No action by the board.
Okay. Matt, I don't know if you wanted to speak to those provisions of the changes that you had made.
Well, all I would say is you did a nice job of summarizing the changes. And my goal was to really recognize that this is an independent nonprofit organization. It's not a unit of, it's not like a subunit of village government where, you know, it needs village approval, for example, to change the bylaws or where it makes sense for the village to be required to appoint someone to your board of directors. So those were that was kind of the thinking behind some of these changes, behind my changes.
Okay. Any questions on any of that just before we go on, or? Right now, there's no process in place for us to do any official reporting back to the village. And when in our discussions, it seemed like we should put in place a process where a regular report of our activities and finances be provided to the village. We haven't quite worked out the format or what all needs to be in that. For the time being, I would say that would probably be delivered by the trustee that's part of the board of the OCA Media, or I would be able to attend either one. I'm saying that Amanda's on the line. I don't know how she feels about that, but I haven't actually talked to her about it. But basically, we would commit to having a quarterly report. We're meeting right now on a monthly basis, and we would be able to provide updates to the village at any time. We don't have any secrets. We're not trying to keep any secrets from anybody or anything like that. And we're more than happy with our relationship. So a lot of this comes down to is what we're trying to do is clean up everything to be in line with what we're doing anyway. So that's really what the intent is here in all of this discussion.
Very good.
The final point, I guess that was something when we first started talking about these bylaws and so forth, we had to spend 15-20 minutes trying to explain to Matt exactly why we had a TV subcommittee that was the same as our OCA board of directors. It sort of seemed like a redundant situation. It doesn't really serve to any purpose as far as except that we have to keep 2 sets of minutes and we have to follow some meeting rules, but it doesn't really help anything. And you certainly still have all the same controls. You have a village trustee currently on our board. You can maintain representation on our board of directors. You still also prove we would continue the same process of coming and asking for funding for the upcoming year each year with the same sort of process that we have. So really, all of this seems like a lot of stuff, but basically all we're trying to do is get it to be where it's clean on what we're doing now.
Does that make sense?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead, Mike.
And for the village board to disband the cable TV committee, Matt would have to prepare an ordinance, and right, Matt, I think we talked about that. And
Yes, I think that's correct.
Questions for Tom or staff on this? Anyone opposed to anything that Tom's suggesting? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Amanda.
But just to comment that, the OCA media, the board has done a tremendous job doing this housekeeping. I mean, it's been a pleasure to serve on that board. Some very knowledgeable and competent people, and this is a lot of hard work doing all the housekeeping and getting up to speed. So I'm happy they're at a point now where they can move on to this next phase. So I'm excited about the future. They're really just doing a tremendous job on social media. With COVID, their views have gone up. They're thriving right now, and it's fun to watch. So
Thank you.
Good. Mike, do you need any action by the board for the disbanding the TV committee, or will that come back to us?
it'll come back to you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sounds like we're on board with everything that you're doing, Tom. We appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Please pass our thanks onto your board as well. You guys have been doing a lot of work.
I suspect they're listening.
Well, good. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. All right. We will keep going then. Item 4B. This is a public hearing. We have Terry A. Ziegelmeyer, leader, agent for the Ziggy's Barbecue Smokehouse 2 LLC, has filed an application for a Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B intoxicating liquor, which this is a Class B combo, alcohol beverage license with the village clerk for the Village of Oregon for the property at 135 South Main Street, doing business as Ziggy's Barbecue Smokehouse and Ice Cream Parlor in Oregon, Wisconsin. So I will open the public hearing, and then next item is staff reports. Any staff reports?
Is Candy online here? I think I saw her.
I am online.
There she is.
So basically, all this, or why we're doing this public hearing is Ziggy's would like to have the full Class B license. Currently, they have a Class B fermented malt and Class C wine license, but they would like to have the full Class B license. So they're basically taking over Charlie's on Main, surrendered their license, and they're applying for one now.
So Candy, is there like only a certain number of these that we can issue as a village? Is that the deal?
Yes. Yes, the intoxicating liquor part of it, there are quotas on it. Now we only have 8 I think we have 8 regular, and then the rest of them are reserves. And we can up our reserves every time our population increases by 500. We have plenty of reserves available, but this is not a reserve.
And Candy, you want to explain to the board what the reserve it means?
Oh yeah, that would help, wouldn't it?
Thank you.
The reserve part is the required $10,000.
Right.
Does that make sense for everybody?
And that $10,000, like it's no longer reimbursable or something.
As I
right?
say that you
Right,
can't do that.
it's not
Correct.
reimbursable. No.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
stopped us from doing that. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm confused. Can we just the business pays $10,000 to get the license, and that is
Or-
non-refundable?
For a reserve license.
Okay. And that
and-
reserve license is different from
There's a regular Class B, which we have a certain number of, and that number will never change unless they change the quota on that. It was, Matt, wasn't it in 1997 they did that?
I don't think it was that long ago, but it's been a while now.
Yeah, I thought it was 1997, but
I think I was in. I think I was in Toma when they did that. So yeah, I think you're right, Candy.
Is this the state legislature or who we
Well,
talking?
Yeah. this is-
Yes, so here's the story.
Okay, yeah, catch us up.
Yeah, so once upon a time, we had just regular, combination Class B licenses, although there was a limit on the number that could be issued in the municipality. And that number could increase over time based on increases in population. Then there was a change in the law, I think encouraged by the industry that supports the tavern industry.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, to essentially require that any additional licenses in the community beyond the number of regular Class B that existed at that point in time, that going forward, any additional combination Class B licenses would be called reserve licenses and would be subject to this $10,000 fee. Now, a cynical person would say that that was done in order to limit new competition coming into the community. But I'm not all that cynical, so I don't know if that was really what was going on, but some people might think that. And then communities responded by finding a way to refund that $10,000. And that worked for a while. And then the legislature came back and made it pretty much impossible to refund that $10,000. So where we are today is that there's a fixed number of licenses that do not cost $10,000. Some people have those, and some people don't. When one of those becomes available, obviously it's worth $10,000. And so there's a fixed number of those. The number of those I don't believe will ever change. Any additional combination Class B licenses that are available and will ever become available in the village under current law, those are the reserve Class B, and they cost $10,000.
So a question on that, how do you determine who gets the next one? I mean, if there were more than one business that wanted one, is there like a running list of first come, first serve or what?
Right now, the way it's handled in the Village of Oregon is first come, first serve. There is no other protocol that's been established to address that issue. Candy, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Randy, go ahead. Oh, hey, Randy, you're still muted.
Are we at our limit for the fixed ones?
So currently we have 6 regular licenses, but we have 12 reserves. And we have plenty of reserves available. We actually have 1, 2, 3. We have 9 reserves available. So there's plenty of.
But we're maxed out on the regular ones, Randy.
All right, so someone else came before us and wanted one.
$10,000.
The next one, they would have to pay $10,000.
Correct.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Unless someone else with a regular license would surrender theirs.
Okay.
Which is what happened in this instance.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that background info. That's
Chapter 125 for you.
We do love Chapter 125.
All right. So any more staff reports? All right. Petitioner comments. Looks like you guys are on the call. Any comments from Terry or Ziggy? Oh, it looks like you guys are muted, so just unmute yourselves. I know. Technology, it's great. Elise, can you unmute them?
I sent them a request, asked to unmute.
Oh, okay.
It's the little bottom, looks like a microphone, mute bottom left corner. There you go.
Okay.
Aha.
First timers here, come on.
All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so do you want to just tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Well, the last going on 5 years now, we've had our regular beer and wine license, and we get a lot of questions, do you guys have brand new fashions or something like that, and, no, we don't. So, after so many people that, asked, it's like, why don't we apply, for one? So here we are. But we're not looking to open a bar, because we're a barbecue, and recently pizza and ice cream parlor. So we want to remain that. But, we want to be able to give these people, kind of what they want. And we're not looking to have 15, 20 drinks. We're just looking at, maybe 9 drinks, Rainbow Fashion is Wisconsin's favorite. We want to be able to offer that, with our barbecue. And then pair up a couple good bourbons, and that people really enjoy with the barbecue. So that's really the extent of where we want to go with having the extra alcohol license on board. We're not going to make our bars any bigger, or our bar. I mean, that's going to stay the same. We don't really anticipate people coming in and sitting at the bar and drinking at it, because we're a barbecue restaurant, right? So that's pretty much why we're applying for this today.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Do we have any public comments? Anyone on the Zoom call that wants to speak from the public? Well, it looks like a no. All right. Village board members, any comments or questions here for the petitioner? Oh, yes. Go ahead, Amanda.
Hi, I was just curious if you intended to put up any signage at your place to advertise the fact that you can serve those drinks now, or are you just going to, let people know through word of mouth or?
Word of mouth, pretty much. We're not going to have any signage, anything like that on the building. I think that what we have is suitable for what we're doing. So, people are just going to know. We've told several people that we're applying, so they're waiting for, an answer, So, I mean, we get accepted, and, that'll be our advertisement right there. I think, it's not like we're going to be, we might put something on Facebook, letting people know. So if you didn't come to Ziggy's to get barbecue because we did have a brand new fashion or some bourbon, then maybe they might not come, But we have had that right away when we first opened up after we got our beer and wine license. We had some people say, do you have any whiskey or anything like that, and we said, at least they were honest with us about it, but, at the same time, here we are applying. So no, the answer is definitely not.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Jenna.
I was just going to say, it sounds like an exciting pairing. So.
Right.
Chief, any, oh, sorry, you're eating. But I was gonna say, Chief, any concerns on this one? You could just wave no.
No, we had a great conversation, and I actually think that the application that's in the packet was not signed by me, but I have signed it and I submitted it back to Candy. And everything I looked at looked top notch. So.
Okay. Very good. All right. Then I will go ahead and close the hearing. And then our next item here then is discussion and possible action regarding the approval of the application for a Class B fermented malt beverage and Class B intoxicating liquor. This is a Class B combo alcohol beverage license with the village clerk for the Village of Oregon for the property at 135 South Main Street, doing business as Ziggy's Barbecue Smokehouse and Ice Cream Parlor. So if anyone's ready to make that motion, you can go for it. All right.
Stitch will make the motion.
Yes, a motion by Stitch and a second by Jacobson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Did someone say opposed? No, we're
I think it was just a late aye.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah.
Okay. So unanimous ayes, right? Okay, cool. All right. So looks like you guys are ready to go ahead, Ziggy's, and I don't know if I ever drank bourbon, but I might have to start now. So
Brandy old fashions. That's what I'll stick with.
oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure Candy will follow up with you, right, Candy? Yep. All right. Okay. Thanks for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Now, how do we get to this Zoom call?
All right. Oh, thank you. All right, we will keep on trucking here. So next is number 5, approval of minutes. So we have minutes from the July 13th meeting, the July 22nd meeting, and the August 3rd meeting. Do we have a motion to approve those? Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson. All right, any discussion or questions on those? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we have vouchers. We have vouchers in the amount of $366,529.35 up for our approval tonight. Would someone like to make a motion to approve to get those on the table?
So moved.
All right, motion by Jacobson and second by Glish. Do we have questions for staff on anything on the vouchers? Does not look like it. All right, so I would ask for a roll call for approval, please.
Finch,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Carpenter,
Yes.
and Bollig.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Excellent. All right, proclamations and announcements. Do we have any board comments for tonight? That seems like a no. All right. Staff comments. First one is the open book and board of review dates. Peggy, anything that you'd like to say about this?
So we'll be posting this on the website, but just to give you a quick overview, we will have a combination of some phone appointments and in-person appointments for open book. The phone appointments will be April 5th and 6th. The in-person appointment will be April 13th with board of review on May 19th.
Excellent. Thank you for all those dates. Any questions on that, staff or board? Make sure these dates are on your calendars. We have board meeting on the 15th. There's a special person, April 20th. Additional board meetings on your calendar because that's on a Tuesday. That often takes people by surprise. I will not be there. It will be joyous. I'm very excited. Maybe I'll go have a bourbon at Ziggy's. All right. Oh, and then you all have another board meeting on May 3rd. Okay, cool. Thanks. Item A, we have a discussion and possible action regarding the police department sale of the 2014 Blackford Explorer. We have a recommended motion for discussion or approval. Motion by Jacobson, second by Glish. We have a B, status of the village administrator search. All right, Mike, here you go.
So the first interview is at 9 a.m. that day. So I thought, have the board meeting start 15 minutes before 40 or somewhere about that. So we can call the meeting to order at 8:45.
And you want us at Village Hall, right?
The Village Hall, except if you want, we have been able to do it. We did a practice run. Jerry's going to do it via Zoom. We're going to also do it Zoom. If you feel uncomfortable coming here, we can do it Zoom as well. There'll be 5 board members with Kevin sitting in the best space in the room, and we'll have plexiglass up too, so you'll be safe.
All right.
Yep.
That sounds good.
Yep.
Agreement.
So this is the agreement that Kevin sent to us, and then I sent it to Kyle, and he did his regular revisions to it. And so I wanted the board to actually see what the changes he made to it. And so just, this is something that he's always stressed to us on the front page that, and I'll say this publicly, because I think we need to say this, is that on Friday, if the board selects the final candidate, that person's not hired. That person has to go through, that person's still going through the process of doing a background. I know it gets confusing for people because typically you do what's called a conditional offer of employment. And Kyle has always said, do not do that. Don't consider this as a conditional offer. All the in-person is doing is going to the next step of the process. And so this agreement, you'll talk about this with Kevin on Friday, because you have to talk about salary, what you want to offer the person, and so forth. And so, but that's obviously at the end of the interview. So, but I wanted the board to see the changes that Kyle had, put as far as recommended for the agreement.
Any questions on that? I always think that Kyle knows best, so. Kyle has kept us out of trouble to date.
Yeah, Jeannie, and the one thing I did ask, and I emailed Kyle about this, because he took out what's called in section 10, not to pick on attorneys, but he had just sent this to another attorney for another community, and it was fine. And then, and so now Kyle took the whole harmless language out. So that could be something that you may end up negotiating that with the final candidate. And but we'll see. We'll see the heart when he's proposing them.
All right, that sounds good. I don't think we have any questions on that. All right. So
and the board may recall this was important for the Lakestone project. So I thank the joint review board members, including Trustee Bollock, for being there last Monday, and they approved it. And so
Miller and the Village of Oregon, the fiscal agent for drug-free communities grant. We have a recommended motion to approve the MOU.
This is a MOU that Judge Cox prepared for the drug-free community grant, where Amy Miller, who's a school district employee, will be getting paid through the grant. And so we felt it was important that since we're the fiscal agent, we're paying someone who's not a village employee, that there be an understanding. It's not village money, it's coming out of the grant. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's more of a procedural thing we thought we need to have in place.
Sure.
Yep.
Any questions on this? Yes, Amanda.
Yeah, not so much a question. On International Women's Day, I thought that should be Attorney Cox or Judge Cox, but I had a conversation with her and she said that was very intentional because she wrote it herself. That was an intentional decision on her part. So that was it.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, sounds like so we have opposed. Motion carries. All right, item E, discussion and possible action regarding the Badger Tracks hosted environment user agreement and Wisconsin Department of Transportation. We have recommended motion to approve the agreement. Would someone like to make that motion, please? Motion by Peterson, a second by Jacobson. All right. Any questions on this? Information in the packet. All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So then item F is a presentation of the Senior Center 2020 annual report. All right, go for it, Rachel.
Hello. It's always helpful to look back on a year that's been concluded, and last year was so crazy while we were living it. It was sometimes hard to keep track of just what all we were busily doing, but we were busy. And once we put the numbers together, we could see why it felt like our whole last 9 months of 2020 was focused on food and telephones, because it was focused on food and telephones. And this couple page reports just kind of tries to summarize for people what we were doing during 2020, especially once things went in an unexpected direction. So a couple of the highlights were that our meals went up. The amount of meals that local seniors got went up 36% in 2020 over 2019, and the rest being mostly all home delivered. Thank you very much to the community for stepping up and helping volunteer to get those meals into people's hands and to get connections. We made a lot of connections with people. Our outreach contacts, which are to people who aren't on case management services, our outreach contacts went up 198%, which was amazing when we went back and looked at it. But we found Even though we're talking about 2020, 2021, we're seeing a lot of connections where we're reaching out to make sure people are getting their vaccinations scheduled if they want one, and that they have transferred hours of continuing education that we've gotten a grant for, and a sense for what you're supporting when you're supporting the senior center, which you do so well, and see if you had any questions for what we were all about last year or what we're doing currently.
Jamie,
Yes, go ahead, Randy.
Rachel, you can pick it up and just read it in a couple of minutes, but you see everything that you guys have done, and I appreciate that. It's very attractive. I like the graphics, so you guys do a really good job on this.
Thank you.
When it's like a 10-page Word document. Yeah. Jenna.
I agree with Randy. I was curious though about how many seniors do we serve in a year? Like,
well, and that's a good question. I know we provided meals last year to 675 seniors. Typically, in a given year, we have a statistic that I don't have with me here tonight, and I apologize for that. I actually do have that, and can email it to you guys, but I'm not sure if we served more total people last year or not. I would bet that we served more than we did the year before, just because we were concerned about people who were isolated that otherwise might have had no reason really to need us. So I can get that to you.
It looks like y'all did a really nice job of pivoting to serve our seniors after everything went down. So
thank you. I appreciate the flexibility of the staff. They had the mentality of we'll do whatever the people need us to do, and they did.
Excellent. Great to hear. All right. Well, thank you for putting that report together, Rachel. We appreciate it. Appreciate your time and all the things that you and your staff are doing. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Item G, we have a discussion of possible action regarding alternate side parking enforcement. We have a recommended motion to stop enforcing alternate side parking on Friday, Friday, March 12th instead of April 1st. Would someone like to make that motion? Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson. Is this something that we do every year, or are we just tired?
This was this was Jenny.
We usually do it every year.
Okay.
Yeah, with the warmer weather and projected to remain warm, we just felt it was fair.
20-inch snowstorm now, but that's okay.
Oh, that's terrible.
Thanks, Jenny.
We talked about it, and if we do have something like that happen, we'll just work with the residents. I mean, it's really it'll just snow. I can tell you that.
Usually do, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
And good news, it'll be late enough in the season that it should melt faster.
That's the best part of a March storm. Yep, it melts the next day. Yep.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item H, this is a discussion of possible action regarding the Highlands of Netherwood Phase 1A street accept. Motion, please. Motion by Glish. Anyone want a second? Second by Peterson. Thank you. Any questions on this? This usually just means that
housekeeping
new developments are marching forward, so that's exciting.
Yep.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item I, this is discussion of who would like to make this exciting motion. Motion by Glish, second by Stitch. Excellent. Any questions on this? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? GC Inc. of Madison, Wisconsin, in the amount of $10,320 for geotechnical drilling and testing services for the JC Park West design. Anyone interested in making this motion for discussion?
No.
Motion by Glish. We have a second by Peterson. All right. Questions on this, or Jeff, go for it.
Yeah, this is just part of, we have Rettler Corporation is doing the preliminary, or the design of the park and preparing the documents, and part of that is to of the structures. You hire the geotechnical outside of that contract. They solicited 3 firms. One was just a little lower, but we've also worked with CGC on numerous projects, both under a contracts or in outside contracts like this with CGC, and they've always done a really nice job, and they're local, so that's why we recommended going with them.
Questions for Jeff on this? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, or I mean, opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item K, discussion and possible action regarding establishing summer hours for Village Hall. We recommend motion that Village Hall's summer hours closing at noon to the public on Fridays from April 30th, 2021 to September 3rd, 2021. And have a note that Village Hall will be closed to the public, but village staff will be working. Someone like to make this motion, please? I think this is something that we've done in years past. All right, motion by Peterson, second by Jacobson. Any questions on this? Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Jeannie, you're right. We've done this in the past. What it does, it allows people to take time off, but then still allows us to get the packets out, because then the person, we can have one person working up here just in the back doing the packets, not having to worry about covering the phone. So it's worked out the last couple of years. So that's why we brought it forward again.
Excellent. Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association, the WMCA press release, requesting clerks, their staff, and poll workers become a part of the COVID-19 vaccine group 1B. Excellent. So thanks for that information. To approve this amendment number 2, and someone like to make that motion, we can discuss. Motion by Glish, second by Jacobson.
Here, what we're shifting around, Mike or Lisa?
Yeah, I'll let Lisa explain what she did here. Please,
Okay.
Lisa.
Yeah, this is the annual budget amendment that I do as the expenses were. And then the other portion of this budget amendment is the truing up of the public works staff at the end of the year, because they record their hours based on what they've actually done. And we have to make sure that our expenses do not exceed what we budgeted. Otherwise, that's a area of that's written up in our actual audit. So I don't know, does anybody else have any other questions?
Have any more questions? All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Of easement, we have a recommended motion to approve the partial release of easement for the Bergamot lots of 362, 363, and 364. Someone like to make this exciting. Anyone want to comment on this from staff, what we're doing?
No, everything we do is not always, sexy out there. I mean, it's sometimes we just do some regulars and helping out fiduciary there.
So Jeannie, just a question for Jeff. Jeff, do they have trouble, like people being interested because they saw those easements?
Right, exactly. Yeah, especially on lot 363 and 364.
Yeah.
You can see how much it really goes into the building envelope, and so that's the reason of that change. And I went through the stormwater management plans. I looked at the plats. I looked at the drainage. I can find no reason for why that was there other than that.
Yeah.
No.
I know this came up some other time. We were like, well, what is that about? Yeah.
Right. So no, I recommend approval of it.
Very good.
All right, any further questions on this one? All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item O, this is discussion and possible action regarding North Main Street, County Highway MM 2021 Utility Improvements Project. We have a request to advertise for bidding. So we recommend motion to authorize Public Works to seek competitive bids for the North Main Street County MM 2021 Utility Improvements Project. All right, motion by Jacobson. We have a second by, let's go with Stitch. Let's shake things up. So this is exciting. This is part of the big project?
Correct. This is on the county highway, so.
So
No.
cool.
That is a piece of road that I think all of us, and honestly, we get a lot of complaints. The county gets a lot of complaints. People think it's our responsibility step for us to be taking these over and getting nice new roads out there.
All right, any questions for Jeff on this? All right, so we have a motion and a second.
So with the data looking better, yeah, I know you've been reading about that. So the county came out with a new order and lifted some of the restrictions. And depending on what's happening with vaccinations and everything else, you know, then probably the next order could even open it up even. And then that led us to talk to the school district about the reserving of the park shelters and playing fields. And I do want to publicly thank Deb again, Deb and Mike Carr, for allowing organizations to make reservations during the month of March, and then it'll be open to the general public as of April order. So we're comfortable with doing this now than we did, was it a couple months ago, Merlot?
All right, and then item 3 under the COVID update is possible action the use of the 2020 vacation time, so that vacation leave not used by an employee's anniversary date in 2020 may be carried over into 2021, but must be used by September 1st of 2021. Anyone like to make that motion? That sounds fair. Motion by Jacobson, second by Peterson. I know there's a lot of folks doing stuff like this because no one's been nowhere to go.
Right. Well, and now there's a real promise that, you know, President Biden was talking about that in May, if you're an adult and you want to get vaccinated, you'll be able to be vaccinated. So it made sense to extend this vacation use during this summer so people can use it rather than lose it. But then they don't use it, then they will lose it by the 1st of September.
Gotcha. Yes, Jenna, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to say that I'm really glad to see that we're doing this. I think it's a great way to thank everybody for sticking with it this past year.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion and a second then. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And then item 4, police department lobby open to the public.
That happened last week, but I just want to make sure that the board knew about it and sort of get the word out. So.
Gotcha. All right, thank you. We don't have any report of committees. We do have minutes not requiring action, 15th board meeting. That coming up.
That's correct.
No unfinished and no new business. We've got some future agenda items coming forward, which leads us to item number 14. The board will meet in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 parent 1C to prepare for March 12th interviews of finalists for the village administrator position, and pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.way, and the board will adjourn from closed session. I have a motion to go into closed session, please. Motion by Glish, a second by Stitch. Roll call, please.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Glish,
Yes.
and Stitch.
Yes.
All right, so the board will go into closed session. So thank you everyone else for attending tonight's meeting. If you don't leave the meeting,